that's good. Tell Bill, tell Bill. Don't just-
I can't tell Bill anything. Okay. I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Rise and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everybody, to the regularly scheduled September 6th Board of Commissioner meeting. Roll call, please.
Brooks.
Present.
Holgren.
Present.
Bondsberger.
Present.
Sykes.
Present.
Overmeyer.
Present. Open meetings law is posted on the south side of our chambers. It is on the wall outside of our chambers. It is also posted on our website. Proof of publication was on our website, in addition to the newspaper September 1st. Review and approve the minutes of the September 2nd Board of Commissioners meeting, just last week.
So moved to approve.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Sykes.
Yes.
Bondsberger.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
Holgren.
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes, and we need to adopt today's agenda.
Move to adopt today's agenda, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks.
Yes.
Holgren.
Yes.
Bondsberger.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes, we do have officials forum. We do not have any officials that I see in the room, but I would like to take a minute to address action that was taken last week. Last Monday, we received a call from our attorneys, and at that point in time, the 8th District, I believe it's the 8th District Court of Appeals, reviewed the appeal in our case. That was the ruling that Judge Gerard had came down earlier this year with, and they denied the case against us. The attorneys were elated. We should be elated. This has been a long year. You know, it just started last year at the end of July. It's been a challenging year. They always felt we was right. We always felt we was right. And the way it looks, the court system agreed with us. That doesn't mean that it doesn't seem like anything's ever over. I guess there is still an option yet, but that has to be filed within the next week now, and hopefully we can put this behind us. But they were ecstatic. I mean, the opposing counsel was very good opposing counsel, so they felt pretty good, and they felt like we needed to make an announcement, and I agreed with them on that. So hopefully we are done, guys. So beyond that, like I say, that's what I have to say. If anybody else has anything, other comments they want to make on it, like I say, it'd be nice to shut the door on this. It was a huge deal. We've changed, in a sense, state law, I believe, as the way it's perceived. No officials are here today. Public forum. Anybody would like to speak to public forum, they can do so. Something that is not on the agenda, step forward. If nobody steps forward, we will. There is no executive session. There's no general assistance cases. Review and approve the vendor and payroll claims is next up. Should have had those in front of you. As you see, the one thing that plagues us yet is cost for prisoners.
Right. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the payroll and vendor claims as presented.
Thank you, Kurt.
Second.
Thank you, Jack. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
you had mentioned the care of the prisoners, and I didn't have a chance to connect with the corrections staff. There was that fairly significant bill for Bryan Medical. I know that in the past we've had a little bit of working with them, and I would assume we probably did that, and this is the the final number.
Yeah, there's no reason for us not to assume that. I mean, Josh
Yep.
isn't here to ask him that, but we do pay the Medicare rates
Yep.
down there along with, I believe the other one that was fairly significant was Platte County. I don't have it pulled up in front of me, so the same way there, that he has negotiated those rates to the best possible advantage for us. It's just
Right.
very expensive when you get somebody that isn't in very good shape and we
Yep.
have to provide them care. So it's unfortunate, but
Right.
there we are.
Yep. Thank you.
That bill from Platte County you're referring to was $9,800.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we obviously, we utilize Platte County, Butler County more so than we do the others, so. Any other questions that we may be able to answer? Roll call, please.
Holbrook,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Bossberger,
Yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes, there are no funding transfers, as you can see by the sheet attached to the vendor claims. You know, the money has came in, so we're better now. We're more healed than we were just a month ago, so. Next up, in this fairly rapid meeting so far, is meet with Mark, is it Kasich? Kasich? Okay, come forward, and whoever wants to speak, we would just ask that, name and address for the record, please, if you would.
So Matt Kosick, 441 Hazelwood Drive is my address in Lincoln.
Thank you.
Printouts for you all. Thank you. I will have,
Thank you.
I have no copies, so you'll have to tell me what's on the sheet.
Okay.
Well, good morning. Thank you for having me here. Thank you. My name is Matt Kosick, and I'm the CEO of Region 5 Services. I'm joined today by Michelle Scholes, who is our Chief of Staff, and then Victoria Perry, who's our Area Director for the York and Seward areas. Victoria, we were talking about that on the ride up here. It's been about a year that you've been in charge of the York agency, is that right? Close, just,
Yes,
we're
pretty much.
close to a year. Prior to that, Victoria was originally in Seward, overseeing operations there, and then was in Lincoln for several years. And Victoria lives in Seward, and so for her to be close to home and do the work out here was a good fit for her. And quite frankly, you've got a really good one in her. She's done a great job here and just everywhere she's been. So with regards to Region 5 Services, so we are the largest provider of developmental disability service supports in Nebraska. There are several new providers in the state, but we are the largest. We serve just that's right about 760 individuals with disabilities. And then we also have right about the same number of employees. So you can see from the printout, we have our original region is this area. Anywhere there's a dot means that we have support. So we actually go outside of our original county, 16 county area in Columbus, Gretna, and Bellevue, but by and large, our service area is southeast Nebraska. Specifically here in York County, we serve 36 individuals with 52 employees. I always like to, for folks with disabilities, I always like to highlight employees or employers in the county. If you do not have a disability, you take working for granted. And so it's really one of the things that goes full circle with the individuals we support to ensure that they're employed. So I always like to highlight that. To talk a little bit about the history, so way back when, in the 50s and 60s, there was really no good option for those with disabilities. If you had a son or daughter with a disability, you were basically instructed to send them to the Beatrice State Home, and that was as much of the life of what they would live. And so parents really got frustrated, as you can imagine, And so parents really pushed county governments and the state government. And so early 70s, we really started to see change in the state. And with that change came the 6 service delivery regions. So obviously we're Region 5, we're one of the 6. And at that time, it was set up that the counties would oversee this work, the counties would fund this work. And so that's how we got to be where we're at. Within these 16 counties, I have, there's one commissioner from each of the counties that serves on our governing board. Bill has been a servant for the past 12 years on that, so. What that gives us, and the funding, so the last page of your handout is the funding request, which the funding has remained the same for year after year. It's based on population, it's a per capita amount. But what that funding does, as well as the oversight, is that gives us public accountability. We are a political subdivision, we are a public entity. And to have that kind of accountability, specifically for the individuals we support, sets us apart and makes us better, because there is that public oversight. Right now, in the developmental disability provider world, there's several providers, there's for-profit entities, there's non-for-profit entities, but there's only 6 that are like us. And that really makes things good. We are at our best when we are in the community, and the York community has been just a very involved community here this past year. I noted a couple of items that our Region 5 Foundation donated $5,000 to the Parker Peyton Lane project, which is being built over on the north side of York, which is a completely accessible playground. Additionally, our foundation has awarded 2 grants here in York. We awarded 10 grants, but 2 of them were here in York for an adjustable bed and for a shower chair. And those are things that our foundation really helps to fill the need for, where funding doesn't exist. And so these were cases where these individuals had requested it through Medicaid funding and just were not able to get it. So our foundation picked up and got them what they needed. So the second page in your printout just is just an overall statistics on Region 5 as a whole. It's broken down by the various agencies we have and the various locations. Shows the number of supports, the people we support in both day and residential settings, as well as some key indicators on the individuals that we support. With that, I've rambled long enough. If there's any any questions or any items that you might have.
Like,
Bill,
I just
go ahead.
like to say one thing. We're very pleased to have Matt on board. Dave Morrell, remember when Dave would come out, he retired, and Matt's been our CEO since that time. I wanted to just stress, when is this, the symposium is this month, right?
Yes, it
And
is
it's what, the
September
fifth?
22nd.
22nd.
Yes.
At the Halkus Center. If you want to see what these people do for the people with disabilities, just stop out there
Yeah.
during the day if you get a chance. And it's amazing, you know, how these people react.
Yeah.
And how they get involved. And
Yeah.
it's just about a tearjerker watching
Yeah.
some of them. It's really interesting. So if you get a chance, stop out there.
Thank you so much for bringing that up. Yes, our symposium. So years ago, we would do a symposium and we would bring in some outside speaker or some sort of big deal. And the people we supported gave us the feedback that basically like, why are you bringing in somebody else? We can present, we can share our stories. And so we took them up on it. And so each year, we haven't had it in a couple of years because of COVID, but we have a symposium where we have, I think it's anywhere from 6 to 10 individuals or groups that either will share a talent or share their story And it is, I'm very excited about it. I have not been to one yet. COVID shut down the past two, so yes, it is at the Holtis Center. It's September 22nd. Would love to have you. So thank you for bringing that up, Bill. And I would also like to thank you. I mentioned Bill's served on our board for 12 years. One of the longest running members on our board and just one of the most engaged and I've really appreciated getting to know you and working with you in my time on the board. I'm a little disappointed that you didn't seek re-election, but I understand that.
Just time.
That's the first person I've ever heard say
Yeah.
Now, you weren't telling the truth, right?
I swear. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions of Matt while he's here?
Yeah.
Looks like you're on for the hook. Thanks for coming this
Very good.
morning.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
Good seeing you.
I did tell Tammy that we'd come get her when this was on
Okay.
the next, so if somebody could slip out and grab her, then I would sure appreciate that. Next up is gonna be discuss an act, I put it on here as county assessor's office, obviously with the vacancy from last Friday. We have got some decisions to make. Some big shoes to fill there, Bill. I don't know who we're gonna get to do
Oh,
it.
yeah, that won't be our.
Oh, I don't know.
I'll tell you
Daniel's
what-
plate's full.
I'll tell you what, out of all the committees, and I've enjoyed them all, it's amazing what this group does for these people.
Do they meet at the same time when you go down with Region? I mean, you got Region 5 and
Yeah, there's Region 5 Systems,
Right.
Region 5 Services. We have the Region 5 Systems meeting from 9:30 to 10:30, and then take a little break, and then we go into the.
right into the
service.
next one.
And we're usually done by 12, sometimes I've seen it go to 2 o'clock. And you remember I said something a few years ago with C.J. Johnson, he used to come forward, and there were some problems at one time, and I got an email the other day that C.J. resigned as of last week. So I assume we're gonna have to put somebody in that position too. We meet next Tuesday, or next Monday, the 12th. So I've got a meeting there, and another meeting in November, and then I'm done there. So, but get somebody on that committee.
They meet quarterly.
They meet, it depends on how their budget works, because they pay mileage. And they try and, stay within their budget, so there's 16 commissioners, 16 counties, it's just like family, but they do pay mileage, and we don't meet every month. We usually, the first of the year was January, February, March, April, maybe May to take care of the budget, and then they skip a couple months, and then have a meeting, skip a couple
Okay.
months. We have one in September, this month, and then November, and we're done for the year.
Okay.
You bring up a good point. Maybe this is something Bill and I, with our committee assignments that we have, since we'll most likely not be on the board in January, maybe write this stuff down for you, so when you are
Mhm.
assigning board seats, then someone says, well, what's the time commitment, then you can just look at that, so.
And
Because it's-
whoever gets appointed, there's an orientation period. You have to go down for a couple of days, probably different days, just to get orientated, and they provide that
Okay.
for a few hours, each time.
So if you'd like, Bill, and I could.
Yeah, I think it's a
put
good
that together
idea.
for you.
You know, because it's one of those committees that both of you have taken care of the committees that are outside of York. And,
Well, we work with a $58 million budget that's brought from the federal to the state, and the state kind of lets HHS take care of those funds. And we've got about, right now, I think 900 and some employees, 957, dealing with 680 individuals. And there's homes throughout, we've got homes right here in York.
Right.
Region 5 does. And they provide a lot of services. It's amazing.
Well, and it's important too, because we are dues paying members to a lot of these boards that we sit on,
Mhm.
so it's important that we do have
Right.
Oh, yeah.
a seat at the table and that we fill that seat at the table at every meeting. I think, how many times has Jack talked about Four Corners, he goes to a meeting and nobody shows up, so
Remember
they
Doris
can't conduct
Karloff?
business, so,
Doris Karloff,
yeah.
she was probably on that board as long as anybody or longer. She's from, up by Wahoo, Saunders County. And, for your information, she got voted out. She got recalled because of a solar farm on one of her relatives' farms. Missed her really bad.
Okay,
Okay.
Enough of that.
yeah, enough of that. We were all right till you turned the corner. Discuss and act on county assessor's office. Obviously, with the vacancy that we have now in front of us and retiring last week, we have a few months now where we do not have an assessor. One hopefully will get voted in November and take over at 1st of January. Tammy is a newly appointed deputy by taking the oath a little over a week ago, Friday a week ago, the 26th, I believe it was. And so then right now, and in that office, we have Tammy, and we have the new employee is Gwen, right? And then Alyssa. And so we have the employees there. It is gonna be kind of hectic coming up. We have the postcard thing to go through, and then we have kind of the assessment period, no, not the assessment, levy setting period is amongst us. So by rule of law, this board has to fill that position. And I think it's a good idea that we do. We do have it to discuss and act on here. We can do something today, or we can do something at the next meeting, but we definitely need to get something done. We have like a 45-day window to get it done in. I would assume that Tammy would be interested in helping us out, I mean, you'd be going up the ladder and then you're gonna get kicked right off it in 2-3 months, but yeah, that's kind of the way it works, I guess. So that's what I wanted to bring in front of everybody today. Anybody have any comments? Like I say, we would have to figure out compensation. Obviously, it probably wouldn't be the full, I think in the past, we haven't done the full elected official's wage, but we've increased it to compensate for the extra duties up until the point where they are no longer doing that anymore. And we would have to get that piece of that pie figured out for her also.
The wage has been set for that office on that old resolution. We passed that resolution, whatever that was. I mean, it's coming, that term's coming to an end here in a couple
Right,
months.
right,
So I
right.
don't know how much wiggle room we have on there. Because if and when we appoint Tammy the county assessor for the remainder of the term, she's the county assessor, and so that's the wage she should get.
It seems to me in the past that we, like for instance, when Benjamin Dennis, took over for county attorney, we did not do the full wage, right? We'd have to go back and look. I didn't think we did.
We did, but he also wasn't appointed to fill the vacancy. He was acting deputy, he was acting county attorney until we filled that vacancy.
Right.
With,
That,
you know who.
Yes.
Shut that
Go ahead,
up.
Daniel.
that was gonna be my question. Is this a acting county assessor position or county assessor?
It would be, if we appointed, it would be the county assessor. You're absolutely right. As being the deputy, being the acting sworn-in deputy now,
Right.
she assumes the role,
Sure.
she or he, in this case, she assumes the role of the assessor.
Mhm.
So, is that good enough for 3 months? I don't know. Or do we do the change for 3 months? That's kind of up to this board.
What is the statute as far as, how long can there not be a official in that position?
I think it's,
Yeah.
well, they give us the guidance they give us is the 45 days.
Okay, right.
45 days. But I don't know that we have to say advertise or anything like that.
Sure,
You have to
right.
have the certificate of assessor.
Okay,
Is that what it's
right,
called, Tammy?
Yes, you have to be certified.
You have to
Yep.
be certified by the state of
Our
Nebraska.
only two positions that you have to be certified
Right. Yep.
out of the main 4 jobs.
Yep.
So it's not like these people are just sitting out in their car, you know, I mean,
Right,
we have an
exactly.
abundance of them around.
Yep.
So having one on staff is great.
Yes.
And I do believe that some counties, the staff, whole staff is actually certified.
Correct?
Yeah.
Most
Mm.
assessors have their staff all certified.
Multiple,
Mhm.
which would be a nice,
It's very rare, but
Mhm.
some staffs have way more than, yes.
Mhm.
at least to have more than one backup, just in case type of deal.
Mhm. Mhm.
It just says in section 32,567, and again, I'm no attorney, and filling vacancies in county offices by the county board.
Right.
But then it also, like you said, it goes into other aspects of eligibility for office, like assessors have to be
Right,
certified
yep.
upon filing, sheriffs have to be certified so many days, I think, after being elected sheriff.
My opinion is if we're gonna assign her the position of assessor, she needs to get the salary of the assessor.
Okay.
If you guys would like to know what all of the processes are, like you said, do we have to interview, do we not? If you'd like to wait 2 weeks and we can ask our county attorney to look into this matter for us, would that make you more comfortable?
Well, I think it'd be a good idea to just to know, make sure,
Right.
Cover all the bases?
right.
Mhm. Because I think also in doing that, I think we want an employment contract, an appointment contract, similar to what we did with Gary, for those spelling out that this position runs through whenever and such. So maybe that would be something that he could have drawn up in the next 2 weeks as well.
And that's something that could probably in the future be for any vacancy in the
I
future too.
I agree, correct.
Because we've done this once already.
Yep.
Not saying, Tammy, you're gonna be a big problem causer
Wow.
in the 3 months that are remaining in that term, or 4.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
but,
I think
it's just a good business practice for everybody. And then everyone's got that document to back them up then, so.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Everybody in agreement on that?
Would you like me to talk to the county attorney's
That would be
office
great,
about that?
about the process and about, coming up with a,
Contact.
yeah. And then we will, I'll ask, for a postponement on this till the September 20th meeting, and then we'll take it up then.
Yep.
And, by then we should be ready to go.
We need a motion for that?
We'll just probably wait till our clerk gets back.
One comment to that, no matter what the decision is, or if we could do what we just talked about, could that be retroactive to September 1 then for the salary?
We'd have to ask Gary that.
I just, so,
I don't know.
rather than prorate or something like.
Sound good? Okay. Once clerk comes back in, we'll accept the motion and everything.
Yeah, except this,
Tammy, you got the postcard bill under control?
No,
No, okay.
I don't have rights to it as a deputy assessor.
Deputy doesn't have the office? Okay,
I need a lot of rights to a lot of things as the assessor to do things.
okay. Some of those things are the postcard,
Postcard and some other items, I think I have to have access to in the state level.
and that postcard's gotta happen.
Right, so, yeah, that was gonna be my next, knowing that, do we need to take some sort of action today? I mean, so your hands are somewhat tied until,
Some rights I am locked on.
oh,
I don't think we have a choice, gentlemen.
and depending upon, I mean, I guess really it doesn't, we know the postcard has to be sent, whether
It
we're a
does.
part of it or not.
Right, we have no choice there. We know for sure one school district in our county
Right,
is part of it.
yep, and so that will need to take place within the next week and a half or
This
week or,
No, it has to be done by Friday.
This week.
okay, yep.
Well, they have the 10th, and the 10th is Saturday.
Mhm.
But I'm supposed to get all my information from everyone by today.
Yep.
And then I have till Friday to get it to the assessor's office so they can send out the postcard.
Mhm.
And Tammy, when you say you don't have
I
the,
think I have rights to do that. I can see that in my computer.
The postcard program, Vanguard's got that all.
I think so.
Up
I
and
have to
going.
confirm with Molly and probably Pat, Trick or Brad.
Okay.
because
They'll have to
you,
give me some rights today.
you as the deputy assume control of the office when there's a vacancy. And
Correct.
that's, so we should be
And
okay.
I
Unfortunately,
think
last
that-
week I was at class, and then I was on vacation on Friday, so I don't have certain rights in my computer yet, so I
Right.
need to get approval,
Sure,
and I assume Vanguard's just going to do that, because we spoke to them this week,
Okay,
or last week, excuse me.
right.
And they know Ann's last day was Thursday, so they may have already done it, I don't know.
So it isn't necessarily a state, right, as much as Vanguards have got you,
I'm locked down because I was a clerk as of Friday at 1:30.
mm-hmm, right, sure.
okay. So then at that rate, we should be
I
okay.
think we're still fine.
Yes, to be able to do the postcard. And then we can have this on the agenda. Well, like I say, we'll postpone, entertain a motion to postpone this till the September 20th. And at that point in time, we should have contract written up and know all the legal of it.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we postpone action on this item till our next meeting, September 20, so we can get a little clarification from the county attorney and have a employment contract drawn up.
Thank you, Daniel.
Second.
Thank you, Kurt. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks,
Yes.
Colburn,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
and Overmeyer.
Yes, okay, thank you, Tammy. If you need anything, let us know. The guy that sat in class with you. But, and if Kurt told me right, there was a bunch of them that was saying if you need help.
Mhm.
So you have that networking out there.
Yep, I have my list of Vanguard assessors now that can help me in my computer.
Okay, and the state's office is willing to help us also.
Yes, I believe one, if not two, may be here this week to help me.
Good,
They're aware of our situation and they have
If they have to
liaisons.
set me up with some rights to the NACO and all that.
okay,
So that until they do that, I don't have access
okay,
or rights.
okay, all right.
Okay,
Once again, we're here, thank you. Yeah.
Thanks, Tammy.
Okay, discuss and act on signing the certificate of cost allocation, WJE Consulting LLC. This is what we do, contract has been with this, gosh, now I've lost his name, Ellers, not Ellers,
Yeah.
Ellers. Wes,
Wes.
This used to be Sequoia, right?
yes, yes. And this is, the $3,600, not to exceed $3,600, it's a prorated, pay 30%, pay 30%, and then the other is on the allocation that is, he helps collect. And, he's got two actually signed copies here. And this also covers, you know, a 3-year period. 22, 23, and 24, which will result in the cost reimbursements for 24, 25, 26. When does he come around?
He was just here, July, I think.
Okay. I've met him, I don't know if anybody's had the opportunity to meet him before. Interesting. individual, he knows this stuff like the back of his hand, talks circles around. It's been a couple years since I've talked to him, but,
You just need a motion for the chairman to sign.
yes, yeah.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Jack. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Fonsberger.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Colvin.
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes. Next up is discuss an act on a special designated license, Wessel's Living History Farm. This is a special designated liquor license. Retail liquor license name is B&B Research and Investments. Sounds like an interesting liquor store. Out of Kearney, Nebraska. They're gonna have a 10/1, October 1st.
A wedding, I think it is.
Event contact is Alyssa Kern, has her number here. Obviously, this is somewhat of a formality. It looks like they have around the house, that you can't see it as well. I don't think that what they gave us, but that picture has got the perimeter around the house.
Around the barn. What is that? There's the house.
That's the house is up front, isn't it?
Yeah,
Or-
that's the
Okay,
house.
there we go, yeah, around the barn, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, and there's the tractor building down there, so.
That's the designated area for.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There you go.
And the liquor, we don't do these very often. They're looking for a recommendation of approval. Is that
Yes,
it?
yes, yes.
That's the area that can be allowed.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that York County approve the issuance of a special designated license as requested for B&B Research and Investments LLC.
Thank you, Kurt.
Second.
Thank you, Jack. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I was just gonna, is the, I should know this, but I don't, is Wessel's, it's outside of the city limits?
It's in
It's
the city.
inside,
Mhm.
so they get,
Oh, no, it's outside the city limits.
Outside.
Yeah, I think-
That's why we have to do the.
We're-
Okay.
Yes.
right, yep. So do we get any, liquor sales revenues or anything from that? Okay.
No. I suppose if you want to become a state senator and introduce that sometime as Bill. No.
So that'd be county sales tax, and we don't have one of those.
Mhm.
We'd have to come up with a special tax. He'd have to come up with something special.
There you go.
Well, you could do a county sales tax. but
Right.
It wouldn't have any effect in places that already have a sales tax in the county.
Right.
So,
Any other? We got it.
Roll call? Did you
Roll
say
call.
I'm sorry. Holgren.
yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Fonsberger.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes. Okay. Up to the fun stuff. Put this on here, wasn't sure how to word it. Discuss and act on property tax relief is what I came up with. As we went through our budget workshop last week, you know, we did a combination of cuts and interlocal agreements that we have for lid exemptions and projects for lid exemptions. And the third piece is how do we help finance it? As you all received an email this weekend, when we left that day, we thought that the financing was gonna be around $650,000 to, in a sense, buy that down and give some property tax relief with inheritance dollars. Unfortunately, the one number was put in there twice, and so now it's actually 1.2. 1,250,000 is what the number would have to be, or that would be the max number needed to buy it down. Now, we could say that we're doing that to avoid a meeting. Well, we would accomplish not being part of that. but I look at it more, and as the email stated too, that it's more of property tax relief. We do have a very robust inheritance fund, and it has, as you've seen by the numbers that were provided to you, over the last 3 years, it has grown. You know, a couple of years ago when we put the addition on, I think at that time we had in between 5 and 6 million, and we spent a couple million on the addition, and then it's back up to $7 million. So, there we are. We can use that, and we do have that. We do have unallocated. Now, after this last meeting, we've allocated some of those funds from ARPA, but we still have close to $2 million in unallocated ARPA funds that will have to be spent also. So, financially, we're doing good. Do we give the taxpayers a little bit of a break, you know, this year? Now it results in, as Bill has always said, it's only a penny. Well, it's only a penny the other way, hopefully this time instead of up. So, that's what's in front of us, like I say. That's that number we need. We don't have to use that whole number. We have to have at least 150, I believe it was, to get us under the lid. But then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't
I
have
think
that
that's
as
a
in front of me.
violation of the lid by $113,509. Yeah.
So we do have to get that number in there for sure. Comments?
Mr. Chairman, my comment is, I think we've done well this year with bringing people up to par with salaries. And I think that's something that, you know, you're still gonna have to consider next year too. But I think we hit it hard this year and helped everybody out. It's been a different year. We've had different things going on internally. But I feel that we ought to just go ahead and take care of this thing, issue a little property tax relief, go with the 1.25, $1,250,000 out of the inheritance fund to supplement the budget request. That's my opinion.
Okay. I would say that I do agree with you, Bill. I think it needs to be stated also is that I don't think this is something this board wants to do
No.
all the time, because first off, it's hard to afford it. You know, we do have it to use it this time, and we can use it at this time, but, you know, we will have to be very, very diligent next year, because these raises that we gave this year will find their way back into, you know, next year, and next year may be a tougher year even than this year if we decide not to fund it with any more inheritance tax, and that's a possibility. That's something the board has to realize, and that's, you know, 2 of you aren't gonna be here, so so the next 2 coming on, you have to realize that we may constrain ourselves just a little bit, or just say there's just not increases next year. I mean,
Right.
we're gonna have to watch it.
Mr. Chairman, I would agree that we probably this year are gonna have to do something to supplement. I was having a hard time with the budget before, and then when the numbers came in last night, I had heartburn. I agree, we've done a lot of work and we've cut a lot. Our budget has increased quite a bit. And I don't know if we have any more room to make more cuts. Where I'm, it's been stated already, but I am very concerned. I mean, yeah, we have a robust inheritance fund, but like you touched and Bill did a little bit, I mean, next year, we're gonna be in a problem as well. And so, yeah, you had mentioned that, you know, next year we're gonna have to be very diligent, and I would definitely agree with that. And I think that the elected officials, the employees, I think they're gonna have to work with us and keep that in the back of their mind, because the increase that we're looking at this year is not sustainable.
No.
And so we cannot continue that for sure. Yeah, it hurts, and I don't know what we can do about it.
And at the end of the day, Friday, when, you know, we were talking about, you know, the cuts we made and I thought it was a little bit
Right.
too good, because in my mind, the number was a little bit different than
Okay,
that.
right,
You know, I
sure.
mean, you know, we threw a lot of stuff at her and it's like, well, okay, that sounds all right, you
Right,
know?
exactly.
But, yeah, after she double checked, it just wasn't there. There was an error on that report. And then, you know, we do have, you know, we budget for money coming in to the county through that inheritance, about 500,000. That leaves us this year with 5.5 million. And then, you know, I mean, so it's a good possibility that fund will be back up over 6. I mean, if you look at the trend over the last 2-3 years, and I think we all realize there's a lot of wealth changing hands in our small little county, and has been, and will probably continue for the future years. But I agree, Daniel, that we just, everybody's gonna have to be on notice. Next year is gonna get tough.
Yep.
It could be tougher than this year.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Jack?
You know, we always talk about setting precedents.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this pandemic that we've had set its own precedents, and I don't think there's anything we can do about that.
Mm-hmm.
The situation with the economics in the whole country has been upset. So we're having to make some things this year that we haven't done in the past. I don't think we ought to sit back on our laurels and say that's a precedent.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, next year, and we have to spend that ARPA money by next year,
Has to be
designated.
designated by the end of next
I
year.
consider that spent.
Kurt?
In our accountant's email, it said there was the difference in the increase from tax asking, what was that, last year to this year was almost $600,000, is that right? Or,
The tax asking from,
oh, it was more than
Yeah,
that, it was like
it's-
2 million almost,
right,
wasn't it?
correct.
Right.
What was that? 2 million,
That 2
is
million,
that all wages?
mostly personnel. You know, when
Wages,
we,
FICA, insurance?
yeah, when we look at our budget, you know, personnel is up top, and then, you know, we get into the other
Right.
pieces. Almost all of it was personnel.
How much of that is insurance? I mean, is that
And
something in the next year?
We don't know yet. We were putting in about 15% again.
Is that something where maybe next year, if it's getting higher and higher, do we need to look at a different provider then too, that can?
We look at
I'm
that
not-
absolutely every year.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not obviously gonna be around here, but I mean, is our current provider, is Cornerstone gonna be the answer? Do we need to reach out to NACO and say, you know, cause NACO's been knocking on the door the last 7 or 8 years.
And historically, they've been higher. That's why we've stayed with who we've been with. And then unfortunately, for the most that have had NACO, and I know this from the county to the north of us, they incurred like a 17% increase this year. So it came calling on them finally, you know, once too. So, and you know, who knows what's gonna happen to ours. That's,
Out of our.
for us,
control.
it's mid-year.
Right.
You know, so we know what half our year budget is, but then the other half is guesstimation at best, so.
That'd be nicer if we could get that moved to budget prep time as well, just so we can actually plan for it.
Well, it used to be, and then you're dealing with the deductible, you know, because then you have, now when we transform to the first of the year, then we switched with deductibles, whereas the other way, if you do jump ship, you're midterm on people's deductibles. So, yeah, there's always good and bad to both of them.
And I'm a little leery about, like you said, with using the inheritance fund, that you're just putting a Band-Aid on it, because this isn't gonna go away next year, like you said. So, and unless we can find places in the general fund that is like one-time expenses that we're using the inheritance fund dollars for, but I don't know where that would be, there's not that many, so.
No, and if we put off, I mean, I think that, you know, as we looked at, you know, like our motor grader expense, if we put off buying equipment, even just a year, you know, then we start getting ourselves in a little bit of bind on paying more for the equipment and stuff like that. And of course, our sheriff's patrol, we want those vehicles as good a shape as possible. So, Bill, did you have
I
something else?
just wanted to say one thing. Legislature did change the inheritance formula last year. And they've been pushing to do away with this, especially your bigger cities in the eastern part of the state, to completely eliminate the inheritance tax. So we gotta keep watching that too.
Absolutely.
But you know, there's a lot of Sand Hills counties or west that are using inheritance fund to supplement their general fund. So I hope NACO takes care of us as far as keeping the inheritance tax intact and not change the formula too much, you know. That's,
Right, yeah, just to kind of piggyback off, I have, taking that big of a chunk out of inheritance is scary, just to supplement the budget. But I also don't think we can go to the taxpayers with our current budget and expect them, or to ask them to fund it completely. It's, and so that's kind of where I'm having a hard time. And I think that along with this discussion, we have to keep in the back of our mind that we've already committed to buy the motor grader out of inheritance. And so that is a purchase that'll come out of there as well. I do believe the numbers that Jill sent us accounted for that.
It did. Yeah,
No.
because we had already done that.
Well, and I think when you look at the size of York County population valuation, take that in consideration and compare that to other counties that we're about the same as York County. I don't think they're gonna have a inheritance tax fund of $7 million in it. For whatever
Right.
reason, we've been really good about not spending previously out of that for even before I was on the board. You look at where we're sitting on some pretty good prime agricultural land here in this county, so like the chairman said, you know, as wealth transfers, and as commodity prices keep going up, land valuations keep going up, housing market the way it's been, that all plays into how much goes into that fund, when it goes through probate upstairs, so. But all it takes is a dive in the market and that fund will
Right.
start to trickle in there,
Mhm.
instead of pouring in like it's been lately, so. And it'd probably be a good idea to buy that or use that fund, spend it down a little bit too, so. The legislature doesn't say, hey, York County, why are you sitting on $7 million over there, so.
So as what we would do then is we would need a motion to, use inheritance at that, you know, at that rate to get under. That will also affect our next agenda item too, as far as setting a hearing. And then obviously at that point in time, if we decide to go that way, then the clerk's office would know whether we're part of the group meeting, the LB 644 meeting at that time also. So there's a lot of things that tie into this one motion here.
Right. We went through a lot of numbers last Friday. I don't know that there is any way that we can get down closer. I flipped through some numbers. Most of the places that we made cuts, we made big enough cuts that I don't know that we can go back and make more cuts just to, in today's world, keep the offices running. Was there any thoughts of other places that we could find reductions?
Mr. Chairman, I don't think there's any one department that we could cut enough to even make
Right.
it worthwhile. You know, even if we could cut 250,000, which would still be quite little. we're still gonna have to supplement $1 million.
Right.
Yeah, there's no one, obviously, I
Yeah.
think that throughout the whole thing.
Right.
You know, we can find. I believe that after the meeting that day, I'd sent out an email to all affected, and I know that a couple of them has taken care of it for
Okay,
us.
yep,
And got that done, so they did go back and obviously make the cuts that we asked them to make at that point in time. So is there more? There's obviously probably more in there somewhere. Bill's absolutely right, is gonna add up to enough. It's not gonna add up to enough, but they would all count. And then we, you know, I mean, basically, we would really need to do another workshop
right,
to really work through that
Yep.
again. It is just one of those things where this year just kinda, as Jack kinda said, it's just a different year. And I wouldn't say we're setting precedent by any means with this, we're just trying to make it work.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that we use $1,250,000 to bring the budget down to a 2.5% increase. Correct? That's what,
But I would say that the motion for probably should state 1,250,000 in tax relief.
tax relief.
Yes,
yeah.
because I'm not sure what the exact percentage would be by the time we're
That's an
done.
unknown.
From inheritance to the general fund.
From inheritance to general fund for the year 22-23.
Because we still have to, look at those interlocal agreements. And those are small in nature, but they're still there, that
But
we
this
get
would
those
be
added
enough
in there.
to oversee all of that.
Yes, yes.
That's what I'm sure.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
Second.
Thank you, Jack.
No,
Go ahead.
one thing, and did you say that was just for the assessor's office next year, Bill? One thing I think we maybe need to look at is when we have these agreements, there's the cost of those agreements, like with the emergency manager, for example, we share him with, that position with Seward County, we
Right.
split everything 50-50. But are there some of these agreements that we have with other counties, and I'm not saying it's that one, that maybe on paper, here's what it costs to do this with this county, but then the work they're doing may be generating more expense in other places in county government, that if that agreement wasn't there, we wouldn't have that expense, you know what I mean? Like, are these interlocal agreements we have with Seward County to patrol the interstate, once those folks are, it's, you know, we're working together, you know, we're cutting costs doing that, but then all these people we arrest are going through the court system, and so where's that cost coming from? You know, our taxpayers are having to foot that bill, we don't get to use the drug money to help, the taxpayer doesn't get to use the drug money to help pay for those people getting prosecuted up there.
That's right.
And they're going through the system, they're landing in our jail, that drug money's not feeding these people in the jail, it's not paying for their medical bills over there. It's going to equipment and such to maybe offset the budgets that the sheriff's office and county attorney's offices have. But when we're doing that kind of stuff, we talk about how great this is gonna be for everybody, well, look at our medical expenses, well, you just brought up today what it was, so. I think that's something we as a board need to look at too, evaluate a little bit further, what is this actually gonna cost the taxpayer?
And some of those people that take off the interstate aren't in the best of health because of their own actions and lifestyle.
mm-hmm,
I do feel that with the personnel we now have in our attorney's office, county attorney's office, hopefully we see a little turnaround in some of that as far as farming out a lot of our prisoners, and that's costing us a lot of money. And along with housing them, they're all sick, they gotta go to the doctor, they gotta go to the dentist, that just keeps mushrooming. If we can curb some of that through our attorney's office, so be it, it helped us out a lot.
And it sounds like they're working hard every day to do
Yeah.
that.
Hopeful.
So,
Okay, we do have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion?
Call for the vote.
I'm done, Mr. Chair.
Hearing none, roll call please.
Bosberg,
Yes,
Sykes,
Yes,
Rhodes,
Yes.
Baldwin,
Yes.
and Oviatt.
Yes. Okay, next up is discuss and act on setting a budget hearing. After the actions we did today, just a second ago. We will obviously not be part of that postcard meeting, so we should get down under our 2.93%. Which means we could have our budget hearing then during our regular meeting day, which would be the 20th of September, in 2 weeks. And that would give Jill and her staff plenty of time to get it in, which it has to be into the state office by the 30th.
enough to advertise.
Plenty of time to advertise too.
And you want it like at 1:30?
It needs to be what I call open-ended, but we can't have anything behind it. So we could have it, if the agenda wasn't that big that day, we could have it at 10:30, you know?
Yeah, I think we could do it in the morning meeting.
But you just don't know.
I know, I don't.
We can curb,
You can adjust the other.
we have no, yet, do we? I mean, nothing is,
I'd have to go look to see what we have on there right now.
Because you look at like this morning, we're not usually not done this quickly.
Right.
I mean, I would, let's shoot for 10:30.
So then anything else that comes up that day, we're gonna have to wait till the next meeting.
Yes, because it has to be the end.
Right.
And, I mean, just setting it today, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be in stone until the 5 or 7 days that we have to publish it. Is that true or not?
Right, I mean, we could pick the day, the 20th, and then
Right.
we could make the time.
I have to know the time, so we put it in the publication.
Once we
Right,
get it
but
in
that
publication.
wouldn't have to
Yeah.
be until,
Right.
when do you have to publish the, budget hearing?
5 days.
5 days?
Mhm.
And so, you know, in the
I
next,
usually do it like, it would be the 15th.
right, so in the next, 9 days, if a whole bunch of stuff came up for that,
I can push it to
we
it.
could push it to 1:30, correct?
Can we just do a motion that says we'll have the budget hearing on
On the
September
20th.
On the
20th?
20th.
Give
Right.
the chairman and the clerk the discretion to set a time.
Right.
Depending on what kind of business we have to take care of that day.
That'd be
I
perfect.
think that would
So,
be a
so move, Mr. Chairman.
second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Baldwin,
Yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Bosberg,
Yes.
Sykes,
yes.
Oviatt.
Yes. Okay. Wow. Committee reports. Anybody got anything other than the budget to talk about?
Right, I was gonna say, covered it all in the budget.
Anybody have anything to report?
Yeah. I gotta get paper.
Chris, that you showed up with us today, as Jack's getting stuff out, did you have anything? I got something for you, so don't take off in a hurry. Couple things, glad you showed up, buddy.
I'm just here and enjoying your presence.
Thank you. Thank you.
We did have Four Corners Board meeting where we discussed, the members of the board, and the members of that board are set up by state statute. One commissioner from each county of the four, one what they call spirited member from each county, and then we have a dentist and a doctor that are appointed by all three, or the majority of the four. Well, we have had some of these reappointments done overlapping each other. I've had one person from York County, the spirited member, that did say that she wanted off the board. So we gotta look at possibility of appointing people, not only from York County, but from the other counties also. And what we would try to do is, and not have all of the appointments come due the same time, so we're not changing the whole board. So that's something that we may bring up and discuss. We may discuss appointing somebody for a 2-year period or a 1-year period, just to get them staggered. And that's, other than the budget that we spent 2.5 hours talking about, that's about all I wanted to bring up.
Good idea, Jack.
Bill, do you got anything?
I don't have anything other than the budget study that we had the other day, and I'll be going to Region 5 Monday.
Okay. You met with, I know that Harv wasn't obviously able to meet here today, Harvey didn't. You met with Harvey
We met
today?
with him this morning, and everything's pretty much, just like it's been, all in gravel and rock and Road 4 down there by McCool. It's still closed, they're gonna finish it up, he hopes by Thursday. Is that-
And they're working on it this week anyway,
Yeah,
so.
get it open.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I did receive a small bridge assessment survey that I'll forward to him, that come in this morning, it looks like, so. Daniel?
Nothing to report
Kurt?
today.
Southeast Nebraska Development District, they're gonna be hosting a series of webinars this month relating to TIF, kind of covering all different aspects of it, starting from like the cities, how they use it, what they do with it, and then onto other officials, the legal aspects of it, and then kind of, so it sounds pretty interesting. So that starts tomorrow. They'll have a noon hour meeting in person at Southeast Community College campus there in Lincoln. And then the last 3 webinars are gonna be just online, again, over the noon hours. So hope they'll learn a little bit about TIF on that one. Last week I attended the Nebraska Association of Counties Assessors meeting in Norfolk, the Divot Center, and that was the 29th through September 1. There was presentations, Property Tax Assessment Division of Department of Revenue, kind of some changes in legislation, and then just kind of some other general educational items there. There was a appraiser from Michigan that came in and gave a little, had a session all day. One of the days, the association itself had their business meeting. They have some great ideas for county boards too, by the way. County boards aren't popular, guys, by the way, when you go to these different affiliate meetings, just FYI. I don't know if that's the same, true, no, well, maybe it's just assessors don't like county boards, then I don't know.
I'm sure the clerk's got the same feeling.
But, no, it was great to meet, like Tammy said, meet some of our counterparts across the state, whether it's, county assessors and also the ones on the Vanguard system. They've all been really good about, if you need help, let us know, whether it's next door to Seward County or out in the Panhandle or even up in Little Antelope County up there. They've all been very supportive and ready to help out when we need it. We all attended Ann's reception last Friday. Very well attended. There's happy to see some county assessors from across the state, retired assessors come in and wish her well. And then on the September 15th, I believe, is the NACO Central District meeting. I'll be attending that as well. And I'll just be poking my head in the assessor's office here through the remainder of the year and try to avoid getting work stuck to me when I'm in there. But I don't think that's going to happen,
No.
which I'm anxious to get to learning down there too. So that is all, Mr.
That's
Chairman. Yes, that's it.
You have anything this morning? Got nothing to do, huh? Okay, this is what involves Chris. I got a call this last week on the zoning. Mr. Eberly, that not only serves on our zoning, but serves on our board of adjustments, unfortunately is going to have, for health reasons, is going to have to resign. So he did give me a name, and I will share that with you, and we need to get that filled, obviously, so as we go forward, in the near future, that we have that taken care of. And then we'll get, I believe, Kelly, we've got written down his term. That's
Yeah.
on that, Mr. Everly's term, so there'll be somebody filling out that term. So we have to do that. The other thing that I got a call from, Sax Lake, familiar with Sax Lake down by McCool. We have more people down there that live in there as permanent. It used to be years ago, it was just weekenders, and now it's more permanent. And apparently, there is just a address for the whole thing. And they're wanting to know if something can be done about that. I can understand because at the entrance, those two houses there have nothing to do with Sax Lake. And that's where apparently most of the world we live in, everybody gets mail order stuff. That's where all the packages get delivered instead of interior to where they belong. So and I'm not 100% sure how the medical providers or the emergency responders, there's got to be a way. So I'm thinking that maybe that'd be a good idea for us to address that, with some addresses, or somehow we can change, some addresses for them down there. So that's another thing that we do, need to take care of. Our boiler, which was here, and then the one part, it seems like there's always one part we're waiting for, that one part's in now. So we do have our dual burner boiler is hooked up and good to go. We did sign that with Black Hills, they wanted us to confirm that we could be an interruptible service, which, obviously we made that commitment when we did this dual burner, so we do have that on hand and signed also, and so we should be good to go. It was interesting, the comment was made when they put it in that they wanted to know how efficient we wanted to run on fuel or on natural gas. And well, we plan on using this predominantly on natural gas, so run it the most efficient there. But when it turns to fuel, then it'll be less efficient without some some tinkering, modification, something like that. So Cal is supposed to be schooled on how to make it run more efficient on the fuel, but for the time being, it's supposed to run the most efficient on the natural gas. There's always something there, but if you guys want to see it, you're more than welcome to go downstairs and see our $70-some thousand dual burner, dual fuel burner. So that is most, other than budget, that is most everything for me. We have been a very eventful year with our budget, and I appreciate everybody's help. And just as we've said more than once today, forewarned, next year is not going to be easy. I know 2 of you won't be here, but 3 of us will be, and it's not going to be easy.
Excuse me, I will be here.
Well, you'll be here, but
Challenge accepted.
we'll be hammering on you
Yeah.
and everybody else, so.
Give them a rough time.
Yeah. Well, we encourage you to still be part of it, Bill. Anything else? Okay. Adjourn.